My child, my beloved, my chosen one from the stars. Why are your fingers trembling as you scroll? Because your soul already knows, this isn't an ordinary message. Something bigger is happening right now. Right here. Something God doesn't want you to miss. Heaven just opened a door that's been locked for centuries. And the key? It carries your name. You were not supposed to see this by accident. This message, this moment, this miracle, it's your divine appointment. Archangel Michael has been sent to interrupt your day, your doubts, and your distractions. Because God says, someone from the other world is crying for you. Yes, beloved. Someone who has crossed over. Someone you love very, very much. Has been trying to reach you for hours from the other side. They left something behind. Something you've been praying for. And tonight, it will show up. But only if you stay. Only if you don't skip a single word. Because Archangel Michael isn't just visiting you. He's kneeling in front of you, begging. My child, please. I order you to open your soul. This is not a warning you ignore. There are whispers echoing in heaven. And they all carry your name. Not just in light, but in urgency. Your time is short. Someone who once held your hand in this world now watches you in silence. And today, God is giving them permission to speak. But listen carefully. Their message won't stay open long. Love letter before we go further. Subscribe now to receive more of these private and urgent angel messages. The kind of messages that come when heaven can't hold back its secrets anymore. God is doing something personal with you. And your name is being spoken by beings you cannot even imagine. Hit subscribe so you never miss another divine whisper, because the next one might change your entire life. Now, back to what you were meant to hear. The person you're thinking about right now? Yes, them. They didn't leave without a trace. They left something. Something spiritual. Something powerful. And it's coming to you. But here's what Michael wants you to know. If you skip this message, if you close your heart again, you'll miss the exact second their truth is revealed. Because heaven doesn't open this gate twice. There's a scroll with your name written in fire and light. It holds answers, names, secrets, and divine wealth. But it won't wait long. God is watching how you respond. So if your chest feels tight, if you're blinking back tears right now, that's not weakness. That's your soul finally recognizing the signal. You are not alone. You've never been. But right now, you're being chosen again. There is something you were meant to inherit. Not just money. Not just a letter. But something much deeper. A soul transfer. A gift of purpose. A truth that has been hidden. Until this exact minute. Someone from the other world is not just crying for you. They're begging for you to take what they could not carry into the next life. This is your holy transfer moment. And Archangel Michael says, if you keep reading, it will arrive in your life within 7 days. But if you skip this, you'll feel it. The silence. The loss. The delay. So keep going. Every line is a lock being undone. Every breath you take now is spiritual alignment. You were called. And heaven is watching how you answer. There are no coincidences in the spiritual world, only divine timing, and right now, time is bending to bring you this message. You may feel like you've been walking through shadows lately, like something has been calling you but not revealing itself fully. That sensation isn't in your mind, it's in your soul. Because someone who loved you in a way words could never describe has been allowed, just for a moment, to reach out to you again. They were taken too soon, or perhaps silently, but their heart left a trail. And this trail ends at your feet. Archangel Michael is standing beside you with a scroll, a sealed truth, and he is saying, if you dare to believe just a little longer, everything you thought you lost is about to return in an unexpected, divine form. What they left for you isn't material, it's a mission. A spiritual inheritance that can only activate through your permission. You've cried quietly in rooms no one saw. You've smiled when your heart was breaking, hoping maybe someone would notice the sadness behind your strength. And heaven noticed. Your tears didn't fall into the earth, they rose like incense into the throne room of God. That's why this message is here. That's why Archangel Michael himself was sent. Because what was once delayed is no longer denied. A gate that had been spiritually locked is being blown open, and the wind of it is touching everything connected to your destiny. Don't underestimate the weight of this moment. That person who passed into the next world didn't forget you. In fact, they've been waiting for God's permission to tell you this exact truth. They left behind a spiritual gift, something they couldn't carry into heaven because it belongs to you. It's not just a letter, it's a key. To a door only your soul can open. And now, you're standing at that very door. You didn't even know it until just now, but you felt it in strange dreams, in the sudden chills, in the way your name seems to be whispered when no one's around. This is why. The one who loved you most from the other world is trying to pass the torch. And if you ignore this message, if you turn away now, it won't just disappear, it'll move to someone else who was never meant to carry it. That's how sacred it is. This is a divine appointment. You weren't just chosen by God, you were remembered by the one who left. They said your name while crossing over. They prayed you'd be strong enough to receive what's coming now. Because this next season of your life, it isn't just healing. It's legacy. The next few moments are not just about reading. They're about receiving. Heaven has aligned this message with your heartbeat. The angels are watching closely, and Archangel Michael is gently saying, "Beloved, do not fear what's coming next. Fear only what you'll lose if you refuse to open your heart now." There's an old prophecy being fulfilled, and your name was written into it before you were even born. This is why you've been sensing something is near. This is why nothing feels normal. Because it isn't. God is shaking the heavens to drop a single truth into your hands: you were never forgotten. Not by Him. Not by them. Not by the universe. And now is your moment to receive what others thought was lost forever. You may be wondering, why now? Why today? Because timing in heaven is not like time on earth. The spirit that's reaching out to you has been asking God for permission to connect with you for what feels like centuries to them. But God waited for this very moment, because your heart is finally soft enough, quiet enough, and open enough to receive what's been hidden all along. This message didn't arrive in your life by scrolling or by luck. It arrived because your soul aligned with its frequency. Something in you called out for answers. For closure. For confirmation. And heaven, being the infinite love it is, answered. What you're reading isn't fiction. It's a spiritual transmission. A wave of divine data pouring through time, through space, through every veil of illusion. And the words that keep vibrating in the spiritual realm are these: give it to them. They are ready now. There is something extraordinary coming to your doorstep, spiritually and physically. It's not just a message, it's a shift. An unseen force is about to shake loose the chains that have been keeping your life smaller than it was ever meant to be. Someone who once held your hand, someone who once smiled at you from across a room, is now whispering from across dimensions, "Take what I couldn't carry. It's yours." And it always was. They tried to tell you before they left. In their eyes. In their silence. In their final breath. But the pain was too loud then. Your mind couldn't comprehend what your soul already knew. That their departure was only temporary, and their message wasn't finished. Until now. This is why your spirit feels strange right now. Why your eyes are misting for no reason. Because your heart is hearing what your ears can't. Archangel Michael has watched over you for years. Through every breakdown. Every betrayal. Every sleepless night you cried into a pillow asking heaven why it hurts so much to love people who leave. And now He's here, holding a divine envelope sealed with your name. Inside is not money, not fame, but something much more powerful, a forgotten truth. This truth is that you were destined to complete what they began. You are the chosen continuation of their story. And if you step forward, if you say yes in your spirit, miracles will begin to unfold that no human can explain. Doors will open. Phone calls will come. Dreams will clarify. Your reality will bend into something you never thought possible. But if you turn away now, it may be years before this portal reopens again. And not everyone gets a second chance with heaven. You've felt the signs, haven't you? Repeating numbers. Songs that trigger memories. The sensation of being watched, not in fear, but in warmth. That's not your imagination. It's your spirit world making contact. And now, as you sit with this message, your angels are leaning in closer. They're not waiting for you to be perfect. They're waiting for you to say, I'm ready. Because once you accept what's meant for you, the divine inheritance can begin flowing. And what's coming isn't small. It's generational. This person didn't leave you behind, they left something ahead of you. And you're walking into it now. You may not realize it, but you've been carrying a spiritual pregnancy, a sacred seed placed inside your destiny before you even knew how to spell the word purpose. That seed was watered by pain, by silence, by betrayal, by lonely nights when you felt like no one could possibly understand how heavy your heart had become. But even then, even when you felt most abandoned, heaven was working behind the curtain. That seed was not forgotten. And now it's time. Time for the unveiling. Time for the truth that was buried beneath disappointment to rise like the sun over your life. That person, the one in heaven, yes, them, they saw what was too painful to say in words. And they left you something. Not in a box. Not in a will. But in a divine code, a spiritual frequency that only now can be unlocked, by you. Because you've reached the place where you're no longer begging for answers, you're becoming one. The angels are close, beloved. Closer than you've ever known. They've surrounded you for days preparing you for this moment. That's why you've been feeling random waves of emotion. That's why your sleep has been strange. Your energy, scattered. You've been sensing a divine convergence, even if your mind couldn't name it. And now it's here. Archangel Michael is kneeling at your spiritual feet, with a sword of light drawn not to fight you, but to cut through every lie that's been whispered over your life. Lies that told you you're too late. That your best years are behind you. That what you lost can't be replaced. But heaven says this: watch what I do in the next 7 days if you trust me with your next 7 minutes. Because what you're about to experience is not just restoration. It's sacred inheritance. A supernatural reward for the pain you carried so quietly. This is not about religion. This is about relationship. Between you and the divine. Between your heart and the unseen world that has been carrying you without your knowledge. And now that veil is lifting. And behind it? An army of angels. A scroll glowing with your name. A voice, familiar, trembling, and full of love, saying, I knew you'd come. I waited for this. You may feel small. You may feel broken. You may still carry the ashes of betrayal or heartbreak in your chest. But Archangel Michael sees you differently. Heaven sees a warrior. A light bearer. A healer who doesn't even know the weight of what their presence does to others. That's why the enemy has been so loud. That's why the pain has been so persistent. Because your anointing has been stirring beneath the surface, and now, it's about to overflow. And let me tell you this, chosen one, what you're walking into next is not for the faint of heart. It's not for the people who always wanted you small and obedient. What's coming next will terrify those who tried to manipulate your silence. Because God is no longer asking you to be quiet. He's asking you to step up. The person who crossed over left behind not just a message but a mantle. You are about to carry their mission, their voice, their unspoken wishes, but with your strength. Their blessing is on you. Their prayers still echo in God's ears. And today, this message is the bridge. You are being called to become what you never thought you could be, because they believed you could. And now, heaven agrees. They watched you quietly from the shadows, not to celebrate you, but to calculate you. Every post you made, every story you shared, every small win you whispered into the universe, they recorded it in the dark corners of their soul like ammunition. And while you thought they were clapping, they were collecting. Not blessings, but bitterness. Their heart twisted with jealousy every time they saw you smile through a storm. You confused them, beloved. They couldn't understand how someone like you, so gentle, so open, could survive the things they themselves couldn't bear. And so instead of asking how they could rise with you, they plotted ways to pull you down. But what they forgot, what they never understood, is that your strength wasn't built in public. It was forged in your quiet prayers, in your silent tears, in the nights when only heaven heard your voice. And now heaven has heard enough. There is a shift that happens when the truth finally finds you. You can feel it in your chest. That rising ache, that internal pause when your spirit whispers, "This is it." That's what you're feeling now. That's not confusion. That's clarity. A divine clarity that can no longer be ignored. You see, this person has been using your kindness as permission. They mistook your loyalty for blindness. But the light you carry is not weakness, it is warfare. Every time you forgave what was unforgivable, heaven recorded it. Every time you blessed those who cursed you, heaven honored it. And now, the divine tables are turning. Not out of revenge, but out of justice. God is not exposing this person to entertain you. He's exposing them to release you. You are not crazy. You are not overreacting. You are being awakened. And sometimes awakening feels like betrayal, because you begin to see who was really sleeping beside you. Let me now reveal what you've already known deep down. It was the one closest to you. The one whose laughter was always a little too loud when you were hurting. The one who never really asked how you were, but always wanted to know what you were doing. The one who joked too often about your success, about your blessings, about your light, pretending it was humor while lacing every word with hidden venom. Yes, them. That's who the message is about. And God has shown me this clearly. They've had multiple conversations about you recently, ones you were not supposed to hear. They spoke to someone you trusted, someone they thought wouldn't say a word. But heaven made sure it would leak. Not through gossip, but through alignment. You were meant to find this out today. Because God won't let you enter your next season surrounded by disguised enemies. You might now begin remembering all the small signs, those awkward moments that didn't sit right with your spirit. The way they got silent when you shared good news. The way they looked away when someone praised you. The way they made you second-guess your own potential by suggesting you were dreaming too big, moving too fast, shining too bright. That wasn't care. That was quiet sabotage. And now that heaven has confirmed it, you have a holy responsibility to protect your peace at all costs. To guard the gates of your soul the way you guard your future. Because what's coming next for you is bigger than your past. It's louder than their opinions. It's stronger than every attack they've sent your way. And if they remain in your circle, they will try again. But this time, it will be disguised in sweetness. They will come with tears. They will come with apologies. But don't be deceived. My child, there is something holy that happens when a chosen one finally stops begging others to understand their light. You don't need to explain why you're pulling away. You don't need to give a long farewell. The moment this message entered your life was the moment the contract broke. Spiritually, they no longer have the authority to walk beside you. And if you try to hold on to them after this, the chaos they carry will begin to leak into your blessings. You will feel it as sudden delays. Missed calls. Strange arguments. Emotional confusion. And if that begins, it won't be because heaven failed. It'll be because you ignored what was written clearly for your eyes today. This message is not just a warning, it's a rescue. A sacred extraction from the plans of those who were smiling in your face while digging a pit behind your back. You are now standing on a divine line. On one side is everything you've built with God. On the other is the shadow of a relationship, a friendship, or a tie that was never rooted in light. This is not about being cold. This is about being covered. Because once you let go of what is no longer aligned, heaven will begin to rush what's been delayed. I see doors opening for you that were locked for months. I see divine partners reaching out. I see unexpected provisions being released. Why? Because the one who was blocking your gates has finally been removed. But you must seal that gate. You must choose now. Will you walk forward as the child who knows their worth, or backward into the arms of someone who only loved you when they thought they could outshine you? That's not love. That's competition. And you were never created to compete. You were created to conquer. You have no idea how many nights heaven has stood beside your bed, whispering into your spirit while you slept. Not because you were weak, but because you were exhausted from carrying a calling that no one around you could see. You've been marked, not by failure, but by fire. And fire purifies. That's what your pain was, it was sacred purification. Every unanswered prayer, every door that slammed shut in your face, every person who left without explanation, it was all preparation. Because the next door God is opening will require no key. It will swing open with your presence alone. But only if you stay aligned. Only if you remember that you are not cursed, you're chosen. That person who died with words they never got to say. They were trying to tell you all along, you are the one. The one who would carry their name into a new future. The one who would carry light where they left shadows. The next few days may feel different. The air around you may feel thicker, or lighter. Time may feel like it's bending, skipping, stalling. These are not coincidences. These are signs. Evidence that your atmosphere is being rearranged by divine forces. Archangel Michael has already begun clearing a path, removing obstacles, exposing hidden enemies, and preparing your home, your mind, your energy, for something sacred. You won't recognize your life a few weeks from now if you keep listening. If you keep believing. If you keep showing up like you did just now. Because today, in this very second, a spiritual transfer has started. A chain has broken. A truth that's been locked up for generations is cracking open, and you're the one heaven chose to hold it. This is why you felt so different from everyone growing up. This is why you never quite fit in. You weren't meant to blend in. You were meant to be the bridge. They are so proud of you. The one who crossed over. The one who's been crying in the spirit world for the right moment to reach you. They've seen you rise from things that should have destroyed you. They've watched your silence become sacred. They've heard your whispered prayers that no one else knew about. And now, God has granted them one chance, this one, to remind you that you were never forgotten. Not even once. Not when the car crashed. Not when the betrayal happened. Not when you thought of giving up for good. Heaven wept with you then. And heaven rejoices now. Because you chose to stay alive. To keep breathing. And now, your breath is holy. Because what's being spoken through this message is not just healing, it's resurrection. Not just comfort, it's commission. You are being asked to carry a divine legacy into the light. So don't be afraid if emotions come out of nowhere. Don't be afraid if dreams get more vivid, or if people from your past start resurfacing suddenly. This is spiritual alignment. God is rearranging your path so the right people, the right opportunities, and the right messages reach you without delay. And yes, the one you're still grieving, they are part of this too. Because they are not gone. They are simply on another side of eternity, helping move things on your behalf. They are interceding. They are watching. They are whispering your name into heaven's ears. And now, they are finally allowed to say what they've wanted to say, you were always my miracle. And now, your miracle is here. They never wanted to leave you like that. They didn't plan it. They didn't know they wouldn't get another sunrise to tell you the words they stored in their chest like treasure. But heaven in its mercy has granted them this, a sacred link, a holy message, a breath of light passed down through Michael himself so their truth could still reach you. And that truth? They saw you as more than just family or friend, they saw you as their anchor. You kept them going more times than you'll ever know. Even when they didn't say it. Even when the silence between you grew heavy. Their love never faded. It just transformed. And now, through this message, it returns to you. Not as sorrow, but as power. You are being strengthened with something not taught in books. Not found in churches. This is raw heaven. This is divine transfer. You're stepping into a moment your soul agreed to long before you were born. What's coming next in your life is unlike anything you've seen. And the enemy knows it. That's why the attacks came harder lately. That's why people you trusted suddenly turned strange. That's why your name started being twisted in the mouths of those who once called you family. But let this be your confirmation: when you are close to your calling, the warfare increases. The heavens know it. The spirits see it. And so do your enemies. They sense something is about to shift, but they cannot stop what's been authorized by God Himself. Archangel Michael stands now at your side with a command written in light: no more delay. Everything that was stolen, blocked, or buried is being released. And not quietly. The miracle meant for you is arriving with thunder. You don't need to chase it. You just need to stay open. To stay listening. To stay soft in a world that tried to harden you. Because make no mistake, beloved, the world tried to break you. But it couldn't. And the reason it couldn't was because heaven had a hand on your back the whole time. When you felt like you were walking through hell, you were actually being escorted by angels through a sacred tunnel. A narrow path where old identities were being stripped, false attachments were being removed, and your real name, your heavenly identity, was being restored. That name is not failure. It's not too late. It's not forgotten. Your true name in heaven is inscribed in gold, and it means bringer of light. That's why you feel things so deeply. That's why people are drawn to you but also confused by you. Your light doesn't just shine, it reveals. And not everyone is ready for that. But now, heaven says, you are ready. Not just to heal, but to rise. So take a deep breath. Because from this moment forward, everything begins to change. The path may not look different at first, but you'll walk it with a new authority. You'll speak with a new voice. You'll attract people and opportunities that feel like déjà vu, because your soul remembers what your mind has just now been allowed to discover. You are not starting over. You are returning to the version of you that never doubted. That never dimmed their light. That knew, beyond fear, beyond loss, beyond betrayal, that love never dies. And that purpose never vanishes. It just waits. And waits. Until now. Until this exact moment. Where God says, give it to them. They're ready now. There's something you need to understand now, and it may be the most important truth your heart has ever heard: everything you've been through wasn't random. Not a single loss. Not a single delay. Not even the betrayal that shattered you. It was all permitted, not to harm you, but to prepare you. To qualify you. Because only someone who has tasted pain as deep as yours could hold the kind of light you're about to carry. Only someone who's cried themselves to sleep with no one to call could be trusted with the kind of spiritual influence God is about to hand you. You think you're ordinary because the world never celebrated you. But heaven doesn't give awards for appearances. Heaven recognizes warriors by scars, not applause. And in the unseen world, your name is known by every angel. Because you didn't quit. You didn't curse God. You didn't close your heart. You endured. You grew in silence. And now heaven is shouting in your favor. The person who left the earth didn't want to go before telling you this. They tried to reach you through dreams, through sudden memories, through signs in the form of birds, feathers, candles flickering without reason. You didn't always notice, and they don't blame you for that. The pain blinded you, and God knew that. But now, because your heart has become soft again, because you chose love over bitterness, their voice is allowed to travel through time and space to whisper this: you were the best part of my life. You are my unfinished masterpiece. You are the reason I found peace when I let go. These words aren't poetry. They're fragments of truth stitched with tears from the other side. And they come with instructions. They want you to live now, not in sorrow, but in power. Because what they couldn't complete, you will. What they couldn't heal, you'll carry with honor, not shame. And maybe part of you still wonders, can it really be true? Is this message really for me? After all my mistakes? After all the times I ran from my faith or cursed the sky or doubted everything? But hear this now, written in fire upon the walls of heaven: you are forgiven. And not just forgiven, celebrated. Because the wounds didn't make you weak, they made you real. God doesn't call the perfect. He calls the ready. And you are ready now. Ready to step into a season where miracles are not rare, they are daily. Where joy doesn't scare you anymore. Where love doesn't have to come with betrayal. And where the past finally loosens its grip because the future is whispering louder. Heaven isn't holding your mistakes against you, it's holding your name in sacred memory. Because even when you gave up on yourself, heaven didn't. So don't be surprised if in the coming days you feel a sudden burst of energy, a knowing, a dream that wakes you at 3:33 a.m., or the sound of a whisper when no one is in the room. That's not your imagination. That's alignment. That's the divine catching up with the version of you that finally stopped shrinking. And when that moment comes, and it will, don't run. Don't dismiss it. Don't say, "Who am I to be chosen?" Because heaven is shouting, you are the only one who could be. That soul in heaven chose you. Not your cousin. Not your sibling. Not your friend. You. Because they saw the fight in you, the strength you never acknowledged, the heart that loved them purely. And now, with all of eternity watching, they hand you the torch. The story doesn't end with them. It begins again with you. You've been carrying something you didn't have the language to explain. A pressure in your chest. A soft ache in your soul. That invisible weight you thought was just grief, was actually spiritual memory. A memory of what your soul came here to do, and the pieces you were supposed to retrieve along the way. That soul who left this world and stepped into the light, they handed you part of your spiritual purpose the moment they passed. You didn't know it then, but your soul felt it. That's why you changed after their departure. That's why no one could really understand what was happening to you. Because something eternal was passed down to you. A frequency. A divine code. A sacred responsibility to complete what they could not. And now, after all the waiting, the silence, the wondering if you've gone crazy, the confirmation is here. It's not in the stars. It's not in cards. It's in this exact moment. And Archangel Michael was sent to say, yes. It's you. It's always been you. They're watching over you right now. Not as a shadow. Not as a ghost. But as a spirit fully alive. They walk beside you when you doubt yourself. They sit with you in silence when no one else calls. You may not feel them every day, but they are there. And they've been asking God, pleading, for permission to tell you that your pain was not pointless. That your breakdowns were not betrayals. That even when you lost faith in everything, heaven kept faith in you. There is no punishment coming. Only a promise. And the promise is this: if you open your heart fully right now, if you say yes, not with your mouth, but with your soul, then everything they died believing in will begin to bloom through you. Not one more year of delay. Not one more door closed. Not one more unanswered cry. Because you are no longer in the season of loss. You are entering the era of inheritance. And this inheritance is not just spiritual. It is tangible. There are things coming that will restore what life stole. Relationships, opportunities, abundance, healing in places you thought were permanently broken. God is about to show you what happens when a warrior stays soft. When a broken heart says yes to being used for light instead of bitterness. Your name is being whispered in rooms your feet have not entered yet. People are about to speak your name in ways that carry favor, not gossip. Even your enemies will be forced to watch your rise, because your rise